today's video, we're gonna get a little weird. We're gonna get a little quantum. We're gonna cover quantum physics and the observer effect, parallel realities, and multiple lifetimes. So I suggest you hang on for the ride because it's gonna be a lot of fun. What if every lifetime you're experiencing right now, your soul is experiencing, and not just here on this earth, on other dimensions, on other planets, what if they're all happening right now? What if time is just this illusion that we get to experience because we're in a body? What if the earth is this level for your soul to really grow and to learn and to expand and to experience? And what if it's not that serious? Would you lean into challenges a little bit more? Would you have a little bit more fun? Would you love a little bit deeper? These are questions that I really want you to ponder on as we go through the duration of this video. I want you to set your intention to really think about your experience and your life on Earth as a growth opportunity. And we're going to get into some cool science. We're going to get into some really cool things, but I wanted to start off with those questions to really get into your brain and get into your heart. Let's go ahead and dive into some quantum physics. Okay, I'm going to try to keep this pretty simple. The simpler, the better to understand, but it can get a little confusing. So if you have to rewatch this multiple times, I suggest you do it. In fact, this is how I learned to really understand quantum mechanics and quantum physics, is I had to relearn, watch so many YouTube videos. So it might not be like a one-time sink in, and allow that to be okay, because this is pretty like, whoa. So let's get into the double slit experiment and simplify it as much as possible. So the double slit experiment, the intention behind it was to study the nature of light and determine whether light kind of behaves like a particle, a solid object, a small solid object, or if it behaves like a wave, spread out energy, kind of like ripples in the water. So this had been debated for centuries. And the experiment was set up. So, okay, imagine you have a barrier and it has two vertical slits in it and a screen behind that to capture whatever goes through the slits. So scientists first wanted to test the behavior of particles, like tiny bullets or sand grains, and waves, so like water waves or sound waves, separately. Okay, so they're doing this separately at first. So when they shot small solid particles through the slits, they behaved as expected. Two neat lines kind of formed on the back of the screen, one behind each slit. And this was kind of what was expected. The second step, they tested waves. So they sent a wave of water and light waves through the slits. Something different happened. The waves kind of spread out, but they passed through both slits simultaneously and then kind of interfered with each other. So instead of two lines, multiple bright and dark bands appeared on the back screen, forming an interface pattern, which is typical wave behavior. So far, everything is making sense. And then the twist happens, okay? Here's where it gets fun. Now scientists wanted to see how electrons are those tiny subatomic particles, okay? So really, they wanted to see how electrons behaved when sent through the two slips. So they fired the electrons one by one. And since they believed electrons were to be tiny solid particles, so they expected them to kind of go how the particles went in each different category, just like the little bullets. However, instead, the electrons created an interface pattern, just like the waves. This means that each individual electron somehow split and passed through both of the slits at once, interfering with itself. This was like, what the F? So, to solve the mystery, scientists decided to observe which slit the electron was actually passing through by placing a measuring device. The moment they observed the electrons, something shocking happened. The interface pattern disappeared. The electrons stopped acting like waves and behaved more like normal particles, forming two lines at the back of the screen. This means that when they weren't watching, electrons existed in many possible outcomes possibilities at one time, like a wave. When they observed, had a measuring device, the electrons chose a definite path, as if they knew they were being watched. How crazy is that? So let's get into some of the deep implications of this experiment. This experiment totally shattered classic physics and introduced quantum mechanics, leading to pretty profound realizations about reality. Number one, consciousness affects reality. The mere act of observing changed how electrons behaved. Before being observed, they existed in a state of infinite potential, a wave. Once they were observed, they collapsed into a single reality, a particle. This suggests that consciousness plays a role in shaping physical reality. Number two, reality is probabilistic. It's not fixed. So classical physics says that objects have a definite state at all times. Quantum mechanics shows that at a fundamental level, reality exists in superposition, multiple states at once until observed. And number three, parallel realities and multidimensional existence. So we're going to get into this a little bit later, but if particles can exist in multiple states at once, this does support the idea of parallel realities or multiple possible outcomes happening simultaneously. When we observe, we collapse into a specific reality, just like how all lifetimes might exist at once, but we experience one based on our awareness, and we'll deepen into that later. Reality exists in multiple possibilities, waves of energy, until we focus on one possibility, the particle. Consciousness collapses potential into reality. What we focus on becomes real. Oh my gosh, you guys should go watch my other video on YouTube. It's called What We Focus On Expands, and it kind of goes into more universal laws around this. But yeah, if electrons behave differently when observed, what does that say about the power of our attention, the power of our perception when it comes to shaping reality? Whoa, 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 whoa. And from a spiritual perspective, I hear this all the time, that your attention is like the most powerful tool, the most powerful thing you have. Okay? Where attention goes, energy is going to flow. Quite literally, quite scientifically, energy is going to flow and it's going to become real. It's going to solidify this into the field. So when you change your thoughts, your emotions, your focus, you can shift into an entirely different timeline. You can create an entirely different timeline. Okay, you're co-creating this entire experience with something that's greater than you, with something that's greater than you that's within you. It's a co-creation beautifully. Just like the electrons change behavior based on observation, you can change quite literally your reality based on observation. So now I want to get into this idea about the multi-world theory or multiple realities. So this is an interpretation of quantum mechanics proposed by Hugh Everett, and it suggests that every choice creates a new reality. Your choices are quite literally an invitation into a new reality. And everything that you're experiencing right now, who you are right now, is just a demonstration of your past. It's just a demonstration of your past choices, your past thoughts, your past habits, your past patterns. That is literally who you are right now. So who do you think the future you is going to be? And how do you think you're going to get to that future version of you? You've got to make the choices that align with that version of you that you want to create. You've got to start making the choices coming from that place already, because that's going to create the you that you're striving for. There isn't just one version of you, but there's infinite versions of you. You can think of it as like this tree, right? And each time you make a choice, that's going to branch off. But the other choice is also branching off into its own reality. So this tree is just constantly expanding and expanding and expanding with all of these different choices. But you, because you only have one point of consciousness, this observer, you can only experience one choice at one time. So when a system is confronted with a choice, the universe splits so that each choice is realized. This is kind of the philosophy behind the many worlds interpretation. And, some people argue against this. Some people are totally for this. It really doesn't matter. It just comes down to what resonates with you and what is going to make you the best version of self that you can be. And for me, knowing that my choices create my reality and that each choice I make is creating that future version of myself is very helpful and very beneficial, because it allows me to be like, is this something future Colleen would do? Is this something that's in the highest good for me? Is this choice going to lead me to where I want to be? And it allows me to reevaluate, to really come down and reevaluate, because we can get stuck in these habit loops and we can get stuck in these pattern loops. And while this does conserve energy in the body and our brain is thinking, I really want safety, sometimes these pattern loops and these habit loops and this safety isn't the best thing for our soul growth and our expansion. So when you can ask yourself, is this choice going to lead me to who I want to be? That is so helpful. So helpful. Okay. One more experiment with quantum physics, and this is the famous Schrödinger's cat and the power of observation. So this is a thought experiment. And it supports the idea of the multiple realities that we were just talking about. So a cat is placed inside of a box with a quantum mechanism that has a 50-50 chance of releasing a poison. Until someone opens that box, the cat is theoretically both alive and dead at the same time, existing in a superposition of states. In the many worlds interpretation, when the box is opened, reality then splits into two branches, like our tree, one where the cat is alive and one where the cat is dead. Both versions of reality exist, but the observer, the consciousness, the watcher, is only going to experience one. So now I want to get into multiple lifetimes all happening at once, circling back to our initial question. Okay? So the idea that we are living multiple lifetimes simultaneously, it's like a book, okay? A book that's happening all at once, but you can only turn to one page at a time and read the one page at a time. It's a profound concept that blends quantum physics, metaphysics, and spirituality. Instead of seeing reincarnation on this planet, on any dimension, wherever, as a linear sequence, one after another, it suggests that all lifetimes, past, present, future, they're all happening right now in different dimensions. Okay, so I want to kind of explore this topic from different angles. Number one, time is an illusion, and all lives are happening right now. I believe that time is an illusion, and the only reason we're experiencing this linear time is because we are in this body, okay? So one of the biggest misconceptions we do have is that time is linear, that the past is behind us, that the future is ahead of us, and that we only exist in this, and we exist only in the present moment. Well, we do exist only in the present moment, because the present moment is really all there is. But Einstein's theory of relativity tells us that time is not absolute, but it's relative to the observer. The distinction between past, present, and future is only a stubbornly persistent illusion. Okay, Einstein, if you said it. If time is an illusion, then our past lives aren't in the past, our future lives aren't in the future. They're all just coexisting on different frequencies in this eternal present moment. But consciousness, your awareness, your observer state, can only observe from one perspective at one time. So you got to think of it like a radio. Your current life is tuned to one station, but there's like infinite other stations, infinite other lifetimes, okay? So if you shift your consciousness, you can tune into a different life happening right now. And this is so I've done past life regression, hypnosis with people. And this is kind of what we get into, they're tuning into these different lifetimes and the ability to learn these different lessons and see what is happening in these lifetimes and how it's kind of affecting your energy now. So past lives can be like intuitive downloads or parallel self exploring other dimensions. And if you're watching this video, I'm sure you're into the spiritual space and you have heard about the Akashic records before, but if you haven't, the Akashic records are a vibrational field that stores every thought, action, experience across all time. The records, they don't store events in a linear way. They exist as energetic imprints that can be accessed at any given moment. So people who can access the Akashic records, they often describe past life experiences where they're really what they're really talking about is they're tapping into another version of self, another version of experience simultaneously. So it's like an infinite cosmic library. Okay, it's pretty cool. I would definitely recommend getting like an Akashic reading done. So this could be why you have like awesome skills in this lifetime that you didn't really even learn or develop. You could be pulling knowledge from another version of you, another part of you. Okay, so now I want to get into like near-death experiences. Near-death experiences, a lot of people that have NDEs, they describe themselves as seeing multiple lifetimes at once. And this is multiple people. Like these are multiple accounts. Okay. They report feeling like they're existing in multiple places simultaneously and can view, stepping out, observe different versions of themselves without a sense of linear time. Like this stuff is just mind-blowing to me. Mind-blowing to me. So if all of your lifetimes are happening right now, guess what that means? That means you're a multidimensional being. That means you're constantly exchanging energy and wisdom between your different incarnations. So I don't know if you've ever had deja vu or ever experienced deja vu, but it could be like, I think of deja vu as like a moment where you kind of like glitch into another version of yourself, or you're like stepping into a different timeline for this body. What do you guys think about deja vu? I would love to hear your thoughts on deja vu because I've always pondered about this. Intuition and insights, it could be messages from a parallel you to offer guidance. Vivid dreams of other lives, that might not just be like a hallucination. That could be glimpses into another reality where you do exist. Your biggest fears, sometimes they have roots in other lifetimes. So now I kind of want to bring this full circle and go back to where we started. We got the science, we got the quantum physics, we got the Akashic records, we got the multiple reality theory, multiple worlds theory. But I really want you to sink this into your heart and ask yourself, what would I do if this earth experience is just about growth and opportunity and lessons and expansion and experience? Like, who would I be? What different choices would I make? How would I perceive the world differently? You know, sometimes this realm can feel so dense and we can get so like bogged down, it feels like, and there can be so much pain and so much suffering. And while it is so beautiful and wonderful to have compassion for that, it can also just get so heavy. So I want you to take a moment and really sit with this and really feel like, what if it can be fun? What if this experience and these challenges and these issues that I'm facing in my personal life, what if this is an opportunity for growth? And yeah, thank you for tuning into this entire video. And I hope you took away something. I hope you learned something. And I would really love to hear your thoughts on deja vu in the comments. So have a great day.